brain gap here.
It's so easy for me, I just click on the link on Lori's email and it just on the panel, we're emailing each other before the meeting and this. Good. So welcome everybody to the Thursday, June 10th Design Advisory Panel meeting. I'd just like to remind everybody that this meeting is being live streamed and it's also being recorded. And the first order of business to call the meeting to order. Second item is the adoption of the agenda, which has been amended. Item 4B has been removed. So there'll only be one presentation. Now for the adoption of the minutes. Has everybody looked at the minutes? Any amendments or changes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The next order of business is our presentations. The first and only one is DP 1230 at 5768 Lindley Valley Drive, and it's going to be introduced by Lisa Brickman.
Hello everybody. This is a development permit application for the property at 5768 Lindley Valley Drive. This is one legal parcel that is separated by public roads. It's unique in that way. The applicant is proposing 15 multifamily units consisting of 1 duplex and 13 single-family dwellings. The property is zoned steep slope residential R10 and is within Development Permit Area 5, steep slope, and DPA 9 for multifamily development. Both the steep slope development permit area guidelines and the general development permit area guidelines apply to the proposed development, and there are no variances proposed.
Thank you, Lisa. The applicant now can share content.
Thank you. Works. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yeah, looks good.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you the last person there. And my name is Dale Edgar. I'm a design director of John Union Design Group in Vancouver, and we're here to present 5768 Ridley Valley. So just to give you a clarity of the location. So this is Ridley Valley, Salt Lake Park here, and Motherhood, bordered by Bay Road, and goes through here. And then kind of looking closer at the site, you can see to the west of our site, we have Garnet Place. And then we have Lindley Point Jogger Park and Lindley Valley Drive down here. So looking at the context as it is right now, we have, as you approach up Garnet Place, up the drive here, you can see the site, one portion of the site, one portion of the 2 acre lot here. It has some exposed bedrock already and some gravel, and the site goes slightly upwards. And until you come to the intersection and turn up Garnet Place, it goes a little bit steeper up to the intersection right here. And you can see, if you turn the corner down Garnet Place, we have some trees along here. And further down the lane here, you can see that there's bedrock and gravel and various debris. Alongside, and on the right-hand side, you can see the existing buildings and houses that are there already. So what we proposed is a 15-unit multi-family residential development consisting of 13 single-family dwellings and 1 duplex here. The forested area to be retained on the rear half of the property. And the unit composition is about, it's 11 two-bedroom units, 150 square meters to 202 square meters. And then 4 units that are 3-bedroom, 175 meters to 110 square meters. So if you want to translate to feet, you have a 0. Now, in accordance with the density transfer allowance conditions in section 7.23, 17 residential units are permitted on property, and there was development permit DP 695 approved for the property in 2015. However, at that time, it was duplex units. So this is a diagram of how we came to, siting the buildings. What we really wanted to do was connect with the neighborhood. As you can see here from Garnet Place, we ended the residential sequence that goes along Garnet Place, and we also connected across here to connect to the corner over here at the corner. And then what we really wanted to do is complete the streetscape. And at the terminus, we had a landscape green as you came up here where we have the visitor parking. And then this green area, which we preserved to the back, is part of the park towards the west. So looking at aerial view from the west, as you can see as you're coming up Garnet, and our duplex here on the corner, and all of our houses along here. You can see that setback to open up a little bit for the view, and as you're coming around the corner. And then this here is from the east, visitor parking, and the south-facing garages and sitting areas outside. Really trying to make it, a pedestrian scale street in this kind of area. This is a street view. So before from the existing photo, there's a lot of gravel and bedrock, and we're going to restore the area and propose a townhouse up here, which is you enter up here at this level and come down to the lower level, and propose some signage here up front to welcome visitors. And this is our site plan. So we have these three units here, one's closest to the bridge. So these two actually, they have, as you'll see later, 2 levels at the back to really deal with the bridge in the back and the landscaping. And then we have mailbox here, and the water meter room is integrated into the duplex and here at the front. So for phasing, because of the water meter room location and the connection to utilities, we propose that the townhouse here at the front be the first phase, and then we have 4 subsequent phases later. And those are so that occupants or buyers can move in, after the occupancy permit rather than waiting for the whole development to be finished. Now this is a street view where you can see this, the building and the privacy that we're creating with these arbors around it. It was from the east. You're coming around the corner. And this one here, as you can see, steps up 2 levels to accommodate the bridge sign. So this is type 8, which is the one. Type 8, which is this unit right here, closest to the bridge. As you see, this kind of building is really for more baby boomers or retirees that can have an extended family or kids, visitors. So as you come in, you have some entertainment family room. You can go down here to a family room, up here, a master bedroom, and down below is an entertainment room. And if you look, the front is quite, we try to minimize the size of the garages, good on the activity out front of the building. And here you can see how we deal with the bridge at the back. Down here we have almost like a landscape area to catch any water or in a section here. A family room down here, you can step up to a family room up there. As well, we have the other unit level, which gets a little bit lower, and there's a single level retaining wall here at the back. And the style is like a ranch style, and you'll see color that really creates a very landscape. We also have some skylights to bring light into the back of the unit, and lots of side lights. This is a B unit. There's about 7 of these. Well, again, we will treat these in a mix. Side unit, lighting, skylights as well, and then a porch up front, at the back, which will also create some space, landscape space. As you come in, you can see there's a large family room, living room, kitchen, and so it's really about, having kids over, grandkids, and we have a single car garage, another parking spot up front. 5C, which is getting closer to the corner. You can see it opens up more towards the south of the veranda and lots of light. And then we've integrated stone, wood, this unit here on the corner is an east-west direction, so you get a lot of stuff light. You can see a lot of space for family room.
Sorry for interrupting, but your audio isn't very clear. We're having a tough time hearing you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's better. I'm not sure. Are you wearing a microphone or are you?
No, I'm speaking to the camera.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to try again. So here is the duplex unit where you have the water meter covered, and it's integrated into the facade of the building. And we have the living room, dining room. Moving down towards the back, you can see that you can come downstairs into the basement unit, as this is a two-level building. And looking at the section here, you can see that you can come down just towards the west. So it's really integrating into the landscape very nicely. And then the facade materials, we have a palette of materials, stone, glass siding, hardy board, and hardy paint. And using colors both warm and cold to create kind of a nuanced expression. And it's looking like organically grown up neighborhoods with lots of variety. They're all similar but different. Using the ranch style, which is kind of typical of context around the area. How we utilize a very small facade up front and then utilize the long plan for the site. And again, using wood, stone here, you can see that we're using stone in the front here, and wood facade details. So in terms of scale and the kind of human scale of buildings, it fits into the neighborhood. This unit is one on the corner. This one has some more details of wood and stone at the base, and also kind of a warmer look to it. And finally, duplex, which has an integrated door here into the water meter room. From the front facade, it looks like a one-story building. And then you kind of see the whole elevation across, which is as a neighborhood that has, organically grown up. And here you can see the townhouse and the edge going down to Midnight Drive, kind of the elevation difference in that. This is a street elevation showing what the neighbors would be looking at, where you can see there's a variety of colors and textures on the side of these buildings. And you have some fencing around it for privacy. Basically, dogs, kids, keep them contained. And just going through the site plan, You can see we preserve a lot of trees down here, as well as the back. You'll see that later in the tree retention plan. So it really creates almost like buildings inside of a landscape. Here we have a retaining wall using stone and project sign, and really kind of creating a neighborhood where you want to walk around and talk to your neighbor. And here, again, you can see the patios up front. They have privacy between them, as in the landscape plan. So here, I'm just presenting for the landscape, but Fred here's on the line as well to answer any questions. And we also have Mark from Newcastle Engineering for civil for any other questions. And we have the parking here. As you can see, there's a lot of landscaping up front and a private courtyard up here where you can contain, but still have privacy between the units. And then a single car tandem or sometimes double. This is the corner units here. You can see there's a lot of street trees, Crescent Boulevard. It really creates almost like buildings inside of a landscape here in the corner, and really restores this area of the site. This is the duplex where you can see there's a lot of landscaping, some of the stones and rocks that have been quarried out from the original site to be used edging trees along here, and we've done more pathways, really all of those there. And how we build a lot of space. A lot of it can be preserved and restored, and we'll have kind of a landscape buffer area here between the cliff and the building. Where water and that will reflect. The tree management plan, to see here, all of these trees along here, and some of the trees in here, and then restoring the edge of the site here is quite a nice landscape area. These 12 rooms on this side of the street. So these are just the answers from Fred. And if you want to talk more about it, some of the bullet points, for example, the LoDA screen, and some of the artificial turf reasons for using that. If you'd like to talk about the questions or so that's my short presentation since we're kind of late. So let me know if you have any questions.
Is Mark going to do a presentation?
It's pretty simple, but if you want a quick one, I can run through the storm. That's primarily the concern, I think. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, site is, as you can see, largely solid rock before it got manipulated when the subdivision was created. So what we're doing to deal with the stormwater is creating a prison of shot rock along the front yard area where we're going to store the volume of rainfall required to keep runoff at the pre-development rates. So basically a subsurface rock-filled storage surrounding the storm sewer. And then over top of that will be the normal landscape, so it's not going to be visible at all. Site's quite tight for servicing, so we've got hydrotel cable, sandstone in the front, and then water and gas in the rear, because we can manipulate the elevations of the water and the gas more easily. It's a bit rocky back there, so it's going to be better suited to utilities that don't require information on grading. So that's pretty much a quick summation of the stormwater treatment and the servicing. If you have any questions, further than
Okay, anything else from the applicant? Hearing none, I would open it up to the panel members. Does any of the panel members have questions for staff? Seeing none, then I would open it to questions to the applicant. Why don't we start with Marie?
Okay, well, thank you very much for that presentation. Interesting site and a thoughtful project you've obviously been working on for a while since you've had another previous application on the same site. I think in terms of form and character, the craftsman style fits well into the neighborhood, and the types of buildings that you're proposing suit it all. So actually my comments and questions relate more to the outdoor space than the buildings themselves. I've noticed that at the end of the lane, what you call the laneway, you have the three visiting parking spots. Is there going to be parking on the lane, allowed on that lane?
I don't think there's room for parking to get there on that lane.
Right, so all you're providing then is 2 visitor parking, and they're at the far end of the site. I'm just wondering if there's any way that you could include a couple parking spots somewhere else on the other end, because what I'd be concerned about there is that you might find that people are trying to park on the laneway because it's going to be a long way down to the visitor parking lot.
I said, there is 2 covenants. One for use, which leaves that whole ridge untouched or untouchable. And then the other half is where we have parking spots. So that's the 3 parking spots that we use.
Yeah, well, it does look difficult. And I'm not an architect or a landscape designer, so I'm not sure where to put them, but it's just a thought I had that the limited extra parking that you do have is way down at the one end. So that might be a little problematic, something you might want to think about and see if there's any way you can squish in another one towards the other end or something. My other thought was on the fences around the yard. It was kind of unclear from the illustrations you sent us. What kind of fencing are you using around the yard?
But do you want to talk about that?
Still can't hear you, Fred.
Put your mic on.
So it shows on mute now.
It's good. You're good.
Oh,
Well, am I good now?
We hear you now. Yep.
Oh, okay, that's good. I had confused by the little red bar on there. Okay. In answer to that question about the patios, let me just go to the comments I made here. The patios are separated with a similar detail varying from 4-foot height facing the lane roadway and 1.8 meter height laterally between patios. Again, the units and patios are tightly spaced and people need what little privacy and security we can offer. And if the neighbor has a pet or small children, you don't want them wandering into your personal space. And if you have a pet of your own, you don't want it running off through the hedge and to the street or neighbors. Now, that's in response to a staff comment that we would not use any fencing and use only hedging material between the patios, which doesn't provide the proper architectural structure to delineate the spaces and to give the feeling of enclosure within your private personal patio. The other issue is that there's deer in the neighborhood, and one of the things they like to do is chew on your salal and hydrangea and roses and other things, so it doesn't give anybody a real opportunity to have a very decorated personal garden when you can only use limited number of plant material. But again, like I say, the fencing and the screening will be very delicately handled. We're not going to Home Depot or Slates to buy fence panels. They will be more articulated than that. And if any of you have any experience of projects of mine, Longwood Station, Longwood Residential Community near Longwood Station, wherein there are the two lake or ponds and the English-style stone bridge. All of those, every one of those units at ground floor has a personal patio of highly decorated and articulated space, again to reflect the style and efforts that the architects are putting into there. So that, also note that each fence, unit fence detail will have a light for
No,
different.
I understand. I understand what the question.
Pardon? Repeat. Hello?
No, I understand what you're trying to, on a backyard.
Correct, yeah.
Great.
And the other thing we want to do there, can you hear me?
Yes.
No. Okay, the other thing I want to do here is that note that each unit fence detail will have a different light past, pardon?
My internet just dropped me, sorry.
Okay.
I think I'm on now.
Okay. Note also that each unit fence detail will have a different light pastel color instead of the common brown tones. We want to get away from this, brown and shades of that we so common around Nanaimo. I want to bring in a little bit of light and color into the landscape as well through the structural mediums there. So, and if anybody has been on the site, if you're on that lane, you might have noted a 6-foot-high wood panel fence around one of the backyards of one of the units facing us, right in about in the middle of the laneway run. And it's rather a rude structure, but they're legally allowed to do that because it's a 6-foot fence they can build around the rear yard, which in this case really looks like the front yard of some of these units along the lane. So it's sort of not harmonizing with the lane itself.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're trying to achieve there, and you don't have a backyard patio with a lot of townhouses. The kind of enclosed patio would be in the back. I understand you have to put it there. I was just concerned because your illustrations looked like it was a fairly hefty, solid fence, and I think that really took away from the design of the building. So, yeah, I think if with some thought put into it and, picket fence, something that kind of fits the style of the house or whatever. But I agree with you in terms of people wanting to pen in their animals and that having shrubbery is a bit of a problem. So,
yes, no,
yeah,
Marie.
Needed that clarified, yeah.
Yeah, Marie, I do appreciate your point because often, like in the architectural renderings, they're using, stock images, to create these things, and I have to come along later and help enhance things. So that's how we're trying to handle it.
Right. And then between some of the garages, it looked like you had some fences dividing the different garages. Is that correct?
That is correct. The reason for that is that if I can find my notes here, yeah, it has to do with the garage doors. Garage doors, no matter how nicely paneled and windowed they are already too dominant in themselves and require a visual distraction. So the point of that, having a very light, delicate, detailed lattice between the units at the driveway portions, with a small arbor receding to the gap between the buildings, is just to kind of give a little definition and a little signal that this is my front yard, and it just doesn't run down the street along with everybody else's. So it helps to personalize the lane in a more, I would say, like an English garden style.
Okay, so you're thinking of plantings along there as well?
Oh, of course, definitely, yes, yeah. Deer-proof planting.
Yeah, okay. And the artificial grass between the buildings, is that the only option? I know it's a narrow space, and I'm pleased to see that you have separate buildings because that lets light in on those walls and makes those townhouses less dark. But is there not some other alternative to artificial grass between there?
Well, you've again raised a very good point, Murray, and the idea of using the artificial turf was that we don't want any planting in there. There's the roof overhang, the gutters, et cetera. There's only just a narrow split of light and rainfall that's going to come down into there, and we don't want maintenance people. The windows are just only 8 feet apart from each other's bathroom and dining room windows anyway, so we don't want maintenance people in there, with lawnmowers and all kinds of other things. But I recently had a conversation with someone about artificial turf versus other mediums, and I'd like to offer that I'm certainly willing to, let my wife take the phone right here. Bye-bye. Certainly, I want to make a change to that. I'm offering to make a change to that because the civil engineer requires a certain level of porosity of the soil areas for groundwaters. But I'd like to offer that we would remove the artificial turf and replace that with 3 inches of round river gravel. So that, and also there's a great deal of rock and clay in the area. We just want to inhibit any plants growing in there, so there's no need to go in there. Also, there's no need to walk back there because there's nothing at the back. The rear patio deck is really only for stepping out of that room onto a very small kind of a Juliet balcony there, and I would also consider that an important emergency exit out of the building as well. But there's no reason to be able to walk back and forth down that corridor, to go to the rear yard because there really is none. So
I think some other stonework might be more suitable, but
I think so too.
I'm sure Kate as a landscape designer will have more suggestions there for you. But and I guess my last question, the staff I noticed suggested common amenity space. I'm just wondering if you thought of using the natural area on the property that's sort of along Lindley Valley Road there, even having just something natural. It doesn't have to be a barbecue space or picnic space, but even this little trail crafted through that forest, for example, with some benches, or even a little play area for kids out made of the natural things like logs or some culverts, things that they can crawl through or climb on, that sort of thing. Just something that would be a shared outdoor amenity space for the area.
Sure. On that point, Marie, in the comment or statement I've made in reply to that question on the staff comment, that my response was there is no need for a common outdoor amenity space, nor is there room for one. If neighbors wish to socialize, this will happen spontaneously as they get acquainted over time with their neighbors and can invite them into their personal private patios. Secondly, there is the multi-use city park for children and adults within a 1-minute walk without even crossing a street. But what I'd like to offer here, though, is along the laneway, we may have an opportunity just to put in a durable 5-foot sitting bench or seat, like a park seat, maybe spaced every other unit or so that if neighbor happens to walk by with their dog on a leash or something, they've got somewhere to sit without interfering with others' privacy, and other neighbors can come out and greet them and have a chat on the bench or something like that. But as far as having, other larger amenity features, I would not support that because also on the duplex side, that area directly behind the large forest area is a protected, wildlife zone in there. So we don't want to have any intrusions in there. It's nice to keep some of the areas natural as it can be, as it's done around some of the riparian creek areas in all of Lindley Valley there. I hope that helps answer that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll let somebody else take over here.
Thank you, Marie. Up next, Kate.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your presentation. I very much appreciate it. It was very clear, and I agree with Marie. I think the style of home fits with what has been built, and so that works for me. I do have a question about the orientation of the duplex and whether or not you considered it facing Lindley Valley or having it, because it doesn't quite seem to be oriented to either road, actually. Is that correct? And also, did you contemplate just staggering them so that there wouldn't be that flat frontage of the duplex? Do you know what I mean?
right now, the corner and kind of mediates the corner. The duplex is on the corner, and this is where you turn the corner. We provided some.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, we're really having a problem with your audio again. You're kind of coming in and out.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
So, the corner unit is really like, where you turn, and we provided some balcony as well on the rear, and, we didn't want it to look like a corner, like you're looking at the side of a building. So we provided some larger windows there that look out, and I think I'll show you here in the rendering how that looks. If you go to the corner here. So we really tried to make it like as if it is looking more outwards rather than just the side of a building with a more wall space. So I think it turns the corner quite successfully, and I also want to add some stone down here at the base and kind of create that continuity of the road from above to Lynn Valley Drive here. I think that will be quite successful. And I think at the front, there will be a lot of trees actually here at the front of the building itself, which you can see on the site plan. So you don't actually look directly at the front of the building. It's kind of opening up for the site to the north here. So that's kind of how we have it, opening up to the Garnet Place.
Could you just show the front profile of that duplex again, please? The elevation of that one?
Yeah. So this is the front of it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a different rendering, and it just really, it would be nice to see just something, a little bit of differentiation between the two units.
Right.
It's very flat there in the middle.
Right.
Whether it was, I can see why you've done that, given the back corners and how much space you have with the property lines, but even just a slight setback, or I'm not sure, I'm not an architect, so, but that stood out to me from all your other buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a way we can adjust it a little bit so it looks like there's two units there and not kind of, it looks like a villa right now, but it could be a little bit of modulation or maybe some treatments of some lighting or some added feature, or even some different color could be added to it.
Yeah,
To make it less central.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. I thank you for showing me the side again. I can see that you have added more windows, so I can appreciate that. Okay, good, thank you. I also have a couple more comments about the landscape. I was glad for the clarification around the fencing in the front yard. And I think because you're on a laneway, the addition of benches could be a fun and kind of interesting way to create that kind of pedestrian feeling of that lane. And also, I would love to not see the artificial turf. I don't see it as a necessary added material, and if rock is your only option, I would prefer to see rock, just because it can naturally spill out into the landscape and we're not adding additional plastic where we don't need it. But maybe if you have opportunity to pull in the vegetation where there is openings, that would be great as well. And I think, and I don't have as much of a problem, given that this development is so close to that park, and it is on the same side of the street, so I think the residents here will, that's a great amenity for them, and I think that will be really well utilized, and preserving that stand of trees as a natural space, I think is a bonus for the neighborhood, instead of pulling people into it. So I don't have a problem with that. I think that's it for now.
May I reply, Kate? Hello, Kate, can you hear me?
Well, I didn't have a question. I was just...
No, can you hear me? Good. I would like to just reply to Kate, and I certainly, when I was talking with Marie as well, I do agree that, you know, I made a bad call there to put in the artificial turf. I guess I was just looking for sort of an instant solution. But I do have my reasons why I don't want landscape planting in there, because of the cost of the soil, the irrigation, the plants, the maintenance required, et cetera. It's just going to be a nuisance area. But I do agree that we need something, and I would like to just offer that until and unless someone comes up with an alternate idea, I would like to offer that we'll just put in a nice decorative river round, or, you know, with a round gravel base, 2 to 3 inch cobbles in there. So it's decorative, it's zero maintenance, and it's extremely, you know, fast draining for that. Again, so there's no need for people walking in there. Now, if, speaking to the architects, if you could go to my landscape drawing L3, I believe it is, or L4 of the duplex. Can you just pull that up for me there? Next one. Correct there. Yeah. I want to just suggest that because these are single lane garages, it's not a double wide garage, it's a single wide garage. And because I made the suggestion to the engineer and the architect that they had the water meter room down where that bottom patio is, just by that little convertible car, I moved it up to between the garages of the unit. Yeah, right there, you got it on the cursor. So the water meter room is up there with a great savings of engineering and cost for the developer, for the owner. But also that gave me the opportunity. There is a lattice screen there. I know it's hard to blow this up into a larger scale, but there is a lattice screen covering that door, and there are tiers of planters of conifers and trees there that will help break up the space. And we just, good idea. Thank you very much for that. Then there's also, you know, complementary planting either side of that. So with a couple of nice big trees in that median between the two driveways, it'll help break up that sort of airport landing area there. You know, it creates just 2 single individual car parking spots, you know, for someone there. And then the terracing helps to bring that level down there. But I think the architects they found the right location for the duplex, because it is the only semi-level access to get a garage and cars into the site. Coming in off the Lindley Valley would be a hazard, you know, for backing out onto that road, and also to the extreme grade changes from the living level down to the public roadway boulevard. So, and we tried our best to, you know, create the spaces that'll soften the building landscape-wise and complement the building, you know, with plant material. Thank you.
Anything else, Kate?
No, that's all, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And next, Tyler? Can you stop sharing? Just a second, you stop sharing your screen? Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks so much, everyone, for the presentation. I don't have much to add. I will just say, very pleased the artificial turf sounds like it's going to be removed, and that's a very positive step. Just with respect to the parking, there's so much unused parking on Lindley Valley Drive. I walk there almost daily, so I'm not too concerned about the parking aspect, because I actually think that street would improve, especially with the parking. more people were parking on Lindley Valley Drive than drove the road. So there's a lot of on-street parking there. And same with the amenity space. Completely agree with Fred, your comments there. There's within a 1-minute walk there is the park there and the trail system, and then within a 3-minute walk you're right at a duck pond. So there's lots of great amenities there. I would just, I do agree with Kate's comments around the duplex. I think maybe some effort there to just sort of to break up the look of that. And the other comment sort of about the fencing details, but maybe picking up on Marie, I think there is some nice fencing in the area that is sort of traditional. It does, some of it is stone and some of it is, I think it's, some sort of black metal painted. I think it looks actually quite attractive, and the nice thing about it is a lot of times back with cedar or some other type of shrub. So I do think there's some potential there with type of fencing and the type of planting that would sort of meet the intent that you sort of expressed there, Fred. So I think some effort there. There could be a look there that would work for the deer in terms of planting, but also sort of matching the fencing, that sort of thing, without being sort of hard to match things like that. Other than that, that's all my comments.
Thanks, Tyler. Gur. Gur, are you there? I think your phone's on mute. That symbol showing his phone's on mute, right?
Correct, yes.
Hello, Gur. Gur, are you there? We didn't have a call.
No, he's on the line, so I just try texting him.
You try it?
Love maybe text him.
And just everyone hold for a minute, please.
Oh, yeah, he's saying they can't hear. Yeah.
He's on mute, just on.
Gur,
Yeah.
Gur, you have to unmute your phone and they zoom out. If you're using your phone, it should be in the lower left-hand corner.
There we go.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Gur.
Thank you, and first of all, sorry for my tardy attendance, and I hope it didn't keep anyone on pins and needles, so I apologize to all the professionals and staff there. Good presentation. I'm glad that the applicant has a chance to address all the staff comments. I think it would be a nice addition to the area.
Good. No questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks, Gur.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just echo a lot of everyone's comments. I think it's a very nice presentation. I think you really captured the residential feel of most of what's happening in the subdivision. I like the style of the house and everything and how they're sited, houses and how they're sited. I don't really have any issues other than what has been brought up from everyone else. I think this will fit in very nicely with the neighborhood, so thank you very much. Any more questions or comments for the applicant? Seeing none, I have a few recommendations here. I'll probably start with Marie's because I'm not sure if she wants these included, all of them anyways. You made mention of adding visitor parking stalls near the west end of the lane. Are you still on board with that, or do you?
No, I think Tyler gave a good rationale there with the Lindley Valley. I wasn't too sure where it would go. It was just a question, yeah.
Okay, I will remove that one. Also, you mentioned alternative methods to some of the fence areas.
I think we should keep that in, that they just be cognizant of sort of blending in aesthetically with the houses and the
Okay.
neighborhood.
Okay, so that would be alternative methods to some of the fenced areas, right?
I think just consideration given to the aesthetic, matching the aesthetic of the building and the neighborhood with the fences and.
So, do you want to reword that then?
How are you wording it again?
I said look at alternative methods to some of the fence areas, which could include
Well-
landscaping, it could, or you're just more concerned about the fence details, making sure the fence details are okay.
Yeah, fitting in aesthetically. And I think Fred, it sounds like, Fred's explanation, I think he's doing that, but just to make sure that we've emphasized it from our point of view, that consideration be given to the aesthetic of the fences and shrubs around the patio areas, so that they fit with the houses, the house design and the neighborhood.
Okay, so just consider the aesthetic to the fence areas. Fence, like the patios, I guess you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the ones surrounding the patio in front.
Fence patios. So yeah, take into consideration the aesthetic to the fenced patio areas. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, then also, next one, which everyone was on board with, looking at alternatives to the artificial turf.
Yeah.
And Fred's comment about using the stream stone or whatever, if that's going to be what he recommends, I think most of us would be in favor of that. Then consider adding common outdoor amenity methods such as benches.
Yeah, I like the idea of sort of looking at some sort of amenity space, but it's not, I think there's some good rationale given for everybody in terms of the nearby parks and so on.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to really be an outdoor amenity space as much as some amenity methods such as what Fred mentioned, maybe some benches and stuff like that, right?
Consider some benches along the lanes, I think Kate suggested.
Yeah.
I'd go with that.
Yeah, okay. And then the only other one was Kate's comment about form and character. Look at ways to make the duplex units more like individual units. Is that pretty much how you want it?
Yeah.
And I didn't hear any, am I missing anything? Seeing none, so we have, what do we have here? We have the patio, the fence detail patio, the artificial turf, the amenity. So I have 4 recommendations. Is that right? Consider the aesthetic when designing the fence and patio areas, the fenced patio areas. Then 2, consider alternatives to the artificial turf. Then 3, consider adding common amenity, outdoor amenity space methods such as benches along the lane. And then Kate's comment, look at ways to make the duplex units more like individual units. Does that sound good? There are no variances, so can I get someone to make a motion with respect to that?
I'll make a motion to accept the project as presented with the 4 recommendations. Is that correct?
That sounds good. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
Marie will second it. Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none. Gary, you're going to have to speak out on your vote, so all those in favor?
Yep.
Favor?
Okay, none opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much, and I guess we can, Kate wants to make a comment off camera, I guess.
You can tell Gertis Diana what the applicant will.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, so
So we could close the
Should panel members stay
close the
on?
meeting first?
yeah, just stay on for a second, Gary. Kate
Will
just...
we wait till
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Adjourn the meeting.
Okay, yeah, so motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried.
Can I just wait a second, please?